Good afternoon, dear students. I hope you are able to hear me and see me. So we'll wait for a minute or so. Let students join in, and then we'll start the session. So guys, how are you feeling? Exams are nearby, just 10 days to go. Thanks for taking time out. If you're able to hear my voice, you can just drop in the chat box. We'll not take much of the time. We'll directly jump into what you should be taking care in the coming 10 days and the 8 days of your examination to ensure that you get the best result. Right? That is the intention. Okay. Now, a lot of you might be tense, a lot of you might be worried. There, some of you may be facing lack of confidence, some of you may be facing anxious, some of you may be really, happy and looking forward to the examination. There could be a bunch of emotions that are being, going around in your mind. And if you're worried or if you have some fear, so that fear has come up because there is an uncertainty. You do not know what kind of paper would be, coming in your exam. Will you be able to answer the questions properly? Will you be able to revise them properly? All of these emotions come up, and it's perfectly fine. See, we cannot avoid those emotions to come up in our preparation times. It is perfectly fine. Everyone goes through that. When we were students, we went through this. When you were writing exams earlier, you also went through that. There is nothing new. So don't try to force yourself to not think or not worry about the exam. Just acknowledge the fact that yes, it is a natural thing that is happening because an exam is coming up, and it is natural that you will get these emotions. Acknowledge them, accept them, and then continue with your preparation. Don't bother yourself too much to get rid of these kind of emotions. Okay, I'm too worried about the examination. What should I do to remove these worries? Right? That is not the right approach. The thing is, yes, I am worried about the examination, and it is natural that anyone who is facing an examination at this level, they will be definitely be worried. So, in the next 10 days of your preparation time and the next 8 days of your examination, please ensure that you take care of these things about not getting overboard with things like anxiety, fear, and all of those things. It is natural. Just acknowledge them and accept them. Don't try to force yourself or resist them. Why am I scared so much? Why am I feeling low in confidence? It will happen. Ups and downs will be there. So be confident with your preparation. You have put in a lots of efforts in the last 8 to 10 months. Be confident with that. Give yourself the credit that you have been able to take it so long. And this is just the last lap. This is just the last lap where you should not be losing out your cool. Okay. That is the first thing what I wanted to share with you guys. Now, coming and looking at the next 10 days of your time, this is not the time to reinvent something. This is not the time to go about and start something from scratch. If you have finished 90% of the syllabus, it's okay. If you have finished 95% of the syllabus, it's okay. If you have finished full syllabus, it's perfectly fine. If you have finished 2 revisions, perfectly fine. 1 revision, perfectly fine. In this 10 days, don't try to do something which you have not been able to do in the last 8 months or 10 months. Okay. This is the time where entire preparation what you have done should converge into actual performance. So the next 10 days, you should focus like let's say for example, one subject you have not been able to do, justice to. Take some time out in these 10 days time and try to do whatever you can do in those 8 to 10 days time that is available to you. And what I would also suggest is towards the end, right, the last 2 or 3 days, it is better if you keep for accounting revision so that the first paper goes on well. The first paper is done properly. That is one thing you can keep in mind. And in the next 10 days, don't try to again overstretch yourself by doing 16 hours, 18 hours of preparation. No, this is not the time, right? So the time that is available to you, you should maybe target about 8 to 10 hours of your daily routine should be towards the revision. You should get good 6 to 8 hours of sleep. Don't think that I'll just sleep 4 hours every day and I'll try to cover everything. What would happen is you will end up giving out more energy in these time take a vaccine. So 8 hours, 10 hours, max to max 11 or 12 hours, but don't overdo in this particular period. That is one thing I want to make it very clear, because you will see people coming out and saying, I'm reading 16 hours a day. We are, I'm reading 18 hours a day. I'm sleeping only 3 hours. Don't do that. Take care of your health. Health is equally important during this last minute, right? That is one thing. I'll be taking up your questions. Whatever questions you have, you can put it in the comment box. I'll be taking it after I finish, another 5-6 minutes of what I have to share with you. So make a routine for the coming up 10 days. Have a fixed time to, get up, have your food. Don't sleep in the afternoon. Don't do that. If you sleep between 2 to 5, please remember that is the time when you'll be writing your exam. So you should not do that. These are smaller things, but they will impact your performance. Have a fixed time for sleeping. Take regular breaks even during this time of preparation and revision, and don't try to overstress yourself. As I told you, even if you have done 80, 85, 90% well, that is sufficient for you to appear in the examination. Don't try to achieve that 100% perfection. Okay, I have missed out this topic. I'll get some revision, some other notes, some other material. Let me complete this topic. Don't do that. Even with 85-90% of the preparation, you will be you will be well prepared to appear in the examination. That is what I am confident of, right? So that is one thing you should keep in mind. So the next 8 to 10 days, make a routine, decide what you have to do, stick to that routine, and do it well. Okay, so that part takes care of what is to be done in the next 8 to 10 days. Then, as you come to the examination time, you have, so in the examination hall, you have first 15 minutes of reading time. Make the best use of that. I have created a video on that. You can have a look at it. In those 15 minutes, you have to decide which question you will be picking up. Don't start solving in those 15 minutes. Just read the question and say, okay, I will be taking up this question. I will be attempting this question, and I will be dropping this particular question. Okay, finally, all your preparation, whatever you have done in the last 10 months, 12 months, it finally culminates into the 3 hours of exam time. What you do there will matter. What you have done in the last 10 months is okay. But what will be your performance in those 3 hours? That is what will matter. So make sure you use those 15 minutes of reading time properly. That is one thing you have to do. And as you write your examination, make sure you follow the instructions given to the candidates. You start every answer in a fresh page. Then don't write symbols, don't write your roll numbers, right? And highlight important words if you have time. Don't be don't be very rigid in writing everything in a single page. If you want to write in the second page, please do that. Don't write 2 lines, 3 lines in a or 2-3 lines in a between two single rows. That's also you should not be doing. Don't write in the margin. I have seen students writing in the margin, writing at the bottom of the page, and the examiner will get upset because of that. So please make use of the paper, the stationery, okay? And because the institute will not restrict you from the number of papers you have to use, so please feel free and write neatly. Don't write in doctor's handwriting to the extent possible. That is one thing. And very importantly, after examination is completed, then keep the question paper inside your bag, come back home and keep it inside your cupboard, or give it to your mother or father or somebody, and don't touch that question paper till you complete all the 8 papers. And I'll tell you a real life story based on this. There is a friend of mine who did not write his first paper well in CA final, and he was very upset. He kept on discussing with me, though I was asking him not to discuss that paper because the exam is already done. Then because that the second paper he did not prepare well, that was that didn't go really good. And the third paper, the fourth paper, so the first group went off like that. And because the first group was not attempted properly, he took a decision that I will not prepare for second group, so he just came and wrote the exams. Do you know what was the result? He cleared the first group with exactly 200 marks and he could not clear the second group. Had he ignored the performance in first group and prepared for second group, he would have cleared both the exams in the same attempt. This is a real story I'm sharing with you. So what is important is accounting paper is done. Come back, keep the question paper back at home. Don't discuss with anybody. If anyone is discussing with you the question paper, then think of him as your enemy at that point of time, only for the exam duration, not forever. And please withdraw yourself from the discussion. The best thing is get out of the exam hall and get back home. Okay, and you yourself also should not be deliberating on that question. It takes a lot of time. And what you should plan actually is after the examination is completed, after you come back home, you have 1.5 days for the next examination, right? So in those 1.5 days, how should you plan for your preparation? So a better approach could be, once you come back home during that evening time, take up the easier topics for revision. The next full day that is available, take the difficult topics for your revision. And the third day and the next day of the examination, again take the simpler topics for exam purpose. Now, what is simple, what is difficult, you have to take a call because it is not standard for everybody. But please ensure you plan the entire 8 days also now itself. So, what you need to do is, from now till the next 10 days, have a proper plan, and in the examination those 8 days also have a proper plan. What will you do on which day, what will you do? And I'm again repeating, please do not discuss the question paper. It is good, it is bad, it is done. Okay, forget that, prepare for the next paper. Okay, now, so that is the aspect related to examination. After examination is over, you have sufficient time to come back, to check, to redo the things and figure out. But that is the thing you should not be doing after the exam paper immediately. Okay. Then management of stress during the examination. That is also very, very important, because a lot of us get tense, including me. I was also tense. I was also an examinee like you. We get tense when we see the paper because we may not know certain answers. Now, the best advice that I can give you is, out of a 100-mark paper, definitely there is 50 to 60 marks which you can easily attempt. And I can bet on this. With the proper preparation, 50 to 60 marks can be easily attempted. So, please first focus on the 50 to 60 marks. Then work on the balance 40 marks where you can score marks. Okay. Just because a single question has come which you have not prepared, say for example, for argument's sake, in accounting paper, you get one question which you had not prepared, or which you forgot, or which you are not able to solve. Let us say that question is 10 marks. Now, the problem with the students is they focus too much on the 10 marks, and because of that, the remaining 90 marks is screwed up. So what you should instead do is, okay, this 10 marks is a difficult question. Let me keep it toward the end. Let me finish up the 90 marks first, and then come and attempt this last 10 marks question. Again, I'll give you my own example here. When I was writing my CA final, we didn't have choices, right? So out of 800 marks, I could attempt only 740 marks, because some questions I did not know, some questions I could not solve, right? That was one thing. In financial reporting, we got a question which was asked for the first time, means 2009. Before that attempt, we are not seen such kind of question. What did I do? Do I spend my time? Do I waste my time in solving that question, or do I focus on other questions? So I kept that question for the end. So I did that question at the last, because if I am able to do 80 to 90% of the question paper properly, then getting those 50 marks or 60 marks will not be a challenge. Okay, that is one thing. Another problem with the student is, you take up some difficult topics, let us say amalgamation or consolidation. You start solving the problem. Then what happens? As you solve the problem, you realize you are not able to complete it in time. Then what do? You waste extra time in completing that question. So please don't do that. For every question, let us say it's a 16-mark question or a 20-mark question, right? Say for example, there is, I'm just going through the chat, but let me complete this part first. Let's say there is a 20-mark question. You should not be allocating more than 35 to 40 minutes for that particular question. If in 40 minutes time that question is not completed, and you feel that another 20 minutes will be wasted in that, please stop that question. Please solve other questions. Whatever step marks are available for that question, you will get it. Okay, so please keep this thing in mind. Then another thing that you need to keep in mind is, don't make silly calculation mistakes. I have seen again students, trying to, because they are in a hurry, they make this silly calculation mistakes and they lose out on marks. So that is also one thing you should not be doing. So your thing right now should be, yes, there will be fear, there will be anxiety, there will be confidence, there will be lack of confidence, all of those emotions, perfectly fine, nothing new. We have seen this in previous exams also. You have written your 10th board, you have written your foundation, so no need to worry. Just acknowledge and accept that particular fact. Once you accept it, it becomes easy. And if it is bothering you a lot, what you can do is, a simple technique which you can implement is, take a piece of paper, write down whatever is going in your mind, and just tear it off, or you can just burn that paper and throw it off. Do it 3 4 times. Actually, that thing from your mind will go off, and you will be able to get focus for your okay. So these are the larger things which I wanted to share with you. Just to tell you that It's perfectly fine to be nervous. It's perfectly fine to have those, fearful, worries and all of those things. But you should not let these overcome you. You have to overcome these and appear in the examination. And the best way to overcome is to acknowledge them and to accept them. Because whatever has happened has happened. You cannot go back and in the previous 10 months and do different things. That is already done. In the next 10 days, you can do only so much. So that is also not changeable. Paper has already been set, so we already we cannot change the kind of questions that will come in the exam. Only thing that matters is your next 10 days of keeping calm, keeping cool, and performing well in the examination. Those 3 hours in the examination hall will determine your final result. Right? What you have done or what you are doing now is not determining. What you will do in those 3 hours in the exam hall, that is what will determine your result. And one more thing, MCQs will be highly scoring. If you are conceptually clear, you will be able to score good marks. That will help you to get that extra mark and push you from this part of the boundary to the passing side of the boundary, right? So let me take up few questions, whatever the students have asked, and then if you have more questions, you can type it in the chat box, and I'll be happy to take them. So little time, how to study strategic management. Okay, so I'm not sure, Vignesh, whether you have taken our classes or not, but if you have little time, I don't know how much little time you have, but strategic management, if you just want to revise it, I have done a revision session for 8 hours. It is available on YouTube. It's available on our app. Run through that, at least run through the notes, and I think that will be able to help you. Okay, so that is one thing. Then handwriting matters? No, handwriting doesn't matter much. In fact, my one of my friend had a doctor's handwriting, worse than a doctor's handwriting, but he still could pass with good marks. When I'm saying handwriting, I'm looking at the presentation aspect. So what students do is in a single line they'll write 2 3 sentences, or they will write after the margin at the bottom, or on the left side of the note your answer book. Trying to fit in everything in a single page. So that makes it slightly clumsy. That's what I wanted to say. Don't scribble much. Just strike off the thing which is incorrect and write on top of that. Right? Okay, so there's a very valid question. If at all due to time constraint, if I'm not able to cover certain topics, how to overcome fear of leaving it? I mean, how does a student need to handle such a situation? Okay. Now, as I told you, I, as a student at CA final, could attempt only for 740 marks out of 800. Means in every subject I have left some 5 marks, 10 marks question, and it was not because of time. Okay, most of the time it was because I had forgotten the percentages, or I didn't remember the case on it. CA final I'm talking about, right? Now, why the fear? See, if you have completed 80 marks or 90 marks of paper in that given 3 hours time, then that 90 marks, even if you score 50-55%, you will get around 45 to 55 marks. Okay, and this will not happen in all the papers. Second, if let us say time is short and you are running short of time, and you realize, when you will realize that you are running short of time, you will realize that towards the last half an hour or last 1 hour. But can we do anything at that point? We cannot, right? If we are not able to finish, we are not able to finish. Whatever that 1 hour time is left, so let us say you started examination at 2 o'clock, and by 4 o'clock you have completed some 60 marks, for example. You have completed 60 marks and 40 marks is left. Now in the last 1 hour, we know you have the time only to cover up 25 to 30 marks. You cannot cover all the 40 marks. Now instead of worrying about that, I will not be able to complete fully, focus on the fact that you will be able to finish up next 30 marks, and the balance 10 marks, okay, you leave it. You leave that because you can't change it. You cannot change it, and this will happen in almost all the examination. This will happen in real life. Everywhere this will happen. So even if you are at a position where you say, okay, I have to leave 10 marks or 15 marks, if you have done 85 marks properly, that should not be a problem. Okay. So I completed group 1 in July, and now I'm going to do group 2. Great. I completed first revision. Okay. I thought to write entity series 1 and 2. This was, yeah, you can, if the revision is completed, you can definitely write entities and get some exam practice. Can we attempt paper in any order, or should we follow any specific order? You should start your answer with the question which you are most confident with. There is no compulsion that you have to start with question number 1 or question number 9 or question number 6. You will have to cover or start with the best question, because 2 things will happen. The moment you complete the best question, 20 marks, you will get some confidence. 20 marks is inside, in my pocket. That is one thing. Some connectivity to your customer. Yeah. So what would you do? You would want to attempt the best question. So it's like in the power play, you will try to score maximum runs, right? So the same way, the first question that you pick up in the examination should be your best question, which you can attempt the best. That will help you to get confidence. That will help you to secure your marks. And the examiner will also have a kind of, okay, this person knows something. See, I'm not saying that based on the first question I'll get marks in the remaining question, but definitely there is a psychological thing that yes, this student is he has done well, and then that will help you to score better marks in the exam. Then okay, so in paper number 8, economics of finance, if you don't use institute for your language, so you don't need to use exact language. Even if you have used the concepts, if you have used the keywords, that is more than sufficient. Suppose I made a mistake of solving problem and I strike it off. Will it have impact on marks? No. I have made a mistake in solving an amalgamation problem of 14 marks. Then I'm telling you real life story here. Then I had to strike out the entire, that account, and then I had to prepare a fresh account. So perfectly fine, no problem. Okay. Then we get 1.5 days to revise for paper 7. Is it possible to revise both EIS and SM in that time? Now again, here specific subject EIS and SM. SM, I think you will be able to, if you have prepared your own notes or short notes, you will be able to revise in about 5 to 6 hours. Revision means you will not read the entire study material. You will just brush through the concept, side addition, all of those things. And you will spend more time on EIS because EIS has more content. Now in this also, you have to take a call that some chapters, some topics you already know. For example, what is input device, what is output device, you already know. Right? So don't waste time in revising those. Things which you already know, don't waste time in revising those. Revision is for those things which you are likely to forget nearby the examination time. Okay. Then how to revise income tax and GST in that 1.5 days? This is again a very critical question. Now GST has slightly lesser content as compared to income tax. Okay, so you have to divide your time accordingly. My strategy used to be, at least revising the 5 weeks of income. That is one thing because a definite question comes from the five weeks of income, remembering the tax rates, right? And then after that, whatever time is left out, I used to dedicate to other bits of, other chapters or other topics. But again, it is specific to your way of preparation. See, for example, I found, let's say capital gains difficult. You may be finding basic concepts and residential status difficult. So the difficult topics, please ensure you are revising them thoroughly. But these 5 heads of income and computation of gross total income and tax thereon, this definitely you should practice and you should be thorough with it because a compulsory question generally comes from this aspect. When it comes to GST, then again, topics around valuation, input tax credit, those things would be important ones which you should be thorough with. Any better way to prepare for MCQs? The best way to prepare for MCQs is concept of clarity. And if you are finding it difficult to prepare for MCQs, we can run through our app. We still have time. You can spend some half an hour time every day to practice those MCQs. I am writing group 2 alone. I haven't started economics till yet. Is it okay if I only concentrate on F1 to my level best? See, even if you concentrate fully only on FM, that only covers 60 marks of the paper. Okay. Now, by attempting 3 marks, we can't say that we will score the passing 40 marks, and each paper has get you the aggregate of 400. So, dedicate some time in the next 2 to 3 days period where you should be covering some at least the important chapters with repeated questions, or you can go to the revision videos, or you can at least go to the notes. Some part is covered and you are prepared well for the examination. Or what you can do is you can actually go back some question papers in the last 4 5 and figure out some topics which are repeatedly being tested. At least cover those. Don't leave it, untouched at all. And that is not a right strategy I would advise at this point. Because still as I said, if try to figure out at least one reading of the notes can be, done in the next 2 to 3 days time. Okay, so Faisal says, you are worrying about something. Professional exam, right? So, and there's a lot of professional exam, right? And there is a lot of pressure on us. So accept that which you like to easier, which can boost that slight amount of confidence, where you can write it, whatever you're feeling, and then tear it off and throw it off. Actually helps you to be aware of your feelings, and that helps you to be present and prepare well for the examination. See, the moment you are in the present, right, it becomes easier for you. If you go back to the past or if you go back to the future, it becomes difficult. Right. Past is gone, future is not yet come. So be present, that will help you to get out of this. So income tax experience again, the specific topics which are tested again and again in the examination. First finish them and then pick up the other topics. Divide the difficulty levels of the question, chapters were what you feel. Then how to attempt and how to write an answer. See, if it's a theory question, facts of the case, then the provision of the standard, conclusion. Practical, can we write debit side of account? Yes, you can do that. But what happens is individual evaluations, they scan papers separately, but still they will check your paper and give the marks. If possible, do it in a horizontal format. So draw it horizontally. That will ensure that everything is on a single page. But otherwise, there is no harm. You can do it on the pages. That's what I try. Paid exam is for partnership accounts. No problem at all. Please use horizontally. Ensure that the numbers are visible. Don't draw a narrow column where you can everything and then the examiner will not be able to figure out what you have done. Since group 2 is accounts is being so again. So after taxes, meaning you have 2 additional days to do, right? So in those 2 additional days, maybe half day for one another subject, and then you can start accounts preparation. 10 days is more than enough for revising advanced accounting for before the examination. Yeah, sometimes I'm facing this internet connectivity issue because of which it is going a lag. What are the most scoring chapters? So, if you want to understand what are the most scoring chapters, accounting standards I discussed in our revision videos earlier. We have seen that you get at least 20-25 marks from that, and then there is always a standard question coming up from the consolidation, or there is a question which comes up from amalgamation, liquidation. These are the questions: investment accounts, cash flow. They keep on repeating. So any question in accounting will be scoring, including right. So you have to go by the weightage what is given by the institute in the section. Presentation tips. Okay. For practical papers, very important, working notes. I keep on repeating this, most of my students will have been bored by now, but working notes, rounds, very important. Okay, that is for practical. Theory, bullets, try to write bullets or try to write short sentences. Don't write long paragraphs. Okay, and for a 5 mark question, you can write about 6 to 7 points. About 4 points. Age revision. A lot of questions are coming from income tax. A lot of you would be comfortable with house property and salaries because there is only so much of complexity in that. So you can skip those two and then first start with PGBP, capital gains, which are a lot of provisions, income from other sources, and then come back to salary. See the what do you call then revise 100% just in those 1.5 days. Okay. See, internet issue. Generally, I would not suggest students to do sums before the examination because if you start doing sums, one sum will take about 30 minutes. So in an hour you can do only 2 sums, which means in the entire 8 hour, 10 hour day you can do only 20 sums, right? So rather, what all are the difficult adjustments? What all are the critical points which you are in error at? Look at those points. So for example, PGBP. For example, PGBP. Now in PGBP, what happens is there are a lot of provisions. But what is PGBP all about mostly? Items are not deductible. So plus and minus you can do in the exam, right? There is nothing to practice that. You have to be aware about what is to be added, what is to be deducted. Then next is session on tax by Varun. So we'll speak with him. Actually, there's some family issue at Varun's place. Mom and all not well. So I'll check out on that, and if we get time, we can do that. But we do have his previous revisions video, which you can refer to. Okay, right? Right. So I think we have. So I would not take more time. We should get right. So this is not the time to again worry, relax, stay cool, right? Whatever you have prepared, master that, and then work towards your examination. Okay, so let me see if there are any other questions. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for taking your time out. Precious 10 days plus 8 days. Make the best use of it. And yes, take care of your health. When you go to your examination, carry some basic necessary medicines, maybe for headache or stomach upset, anything can happen. Carry water bottle, your mask, your hand sanitizers, right? Then you can carry, do carry extra pens. That is important. All ticket print are very important. And then that's it. So and calculator you can carry the one which you use. Okay, right? And don't experiment anything new in the next 18 days. Whatever believe that whatever you have been doing will be sufficient for a examination. That belief, self belief is very very important. All the best from all of us at Indigo Learn. And yes, if you have any doubt, you can still your forums access. You can come out and you can post it to your forums. Prepare, do well in the examination, and pass your CE at the final. Thank you.